പക്ഷേ 2013 I think 2013 is when we spoke about lifestyle change and weight loss and clean eating and everything. And from there, I think I lost about 20 kilos, 2025. And it's not about the weight loss per se, but then my lifestyle has been completely shifted from what I used to do versus what I'm doing now. And you, on the other hand, even though you advised me in 2030, you started your journey in 2019, and the transformation have been amazing. You lost about 50 kilos, and again, both of us could reverse our diabetes. That's the best part of it. So I would like all our viewers to know how this happened and what are the things that we did during the journey.
So there's like three primary pillars of health that we have to work on. One is food, the second is movement, and the third is sleep. So if you get all three going, ideally it works out well. Food, you have to take care of eating clean, eating right, eating at the right time. Those are the basics. Movement, we have to keep moving throughout the day. That's ideally what we should be doing. And sleep, 8 hours is non-negotiable. This is something I had to find out the hard way, because for about 15 years I must have slept 3 to 4 hours a day, and I was functioning well. I was running around. There was good energy. I had good energy. I didn't have any troubles. But it was affecting my health over those 15 years. I was diabetic for maybe about 7 years. My HbA1c was 10.8 at the point where I decided that I have to fix things and change things around. And to get that going, I had to make some massive changes in lifestyle. Learning how to sleep again was a big shift, because I was used to having so much time on my hands, and changing that was a bit of a problem. But overall, once I found sleep, there was no turning back. Like, I don't do anything less than 8 hours per day, which is what I prefer to keep it at, and it's a non-negotiable. Food-wise, eating non-processed is what I prefer, natural, and that's what I figured works out well for me. And it's something that you will notice in terms of your energy levels. Weight is not that big a deal. It's more about how you feel. It's more about what kind of energy levels you have, how mobile you are, how you can move. The movement part comes with the weight loss. Once you lose weight, then it's easy to move, it's easy to walk, it's easy to do things. You're not tired, you're not lethargic. So I found that all kind of adds on. But these three things put together is what really works out. And gut health is where most of our problems kind of start. If the gut is not clean, if the gut is not functioning well, it affects your mind, it affects your body, it affects how you think, how you run your day-to-day basis.
So talking about gut health, I still remember somewhere around 2015-16, I was facing some sort of issue with my health. Even though the weight loss was happening, at one point it just stopped. And I had issues with my mood. I used to get quite angry. I think ആ സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾ ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിച്ചു. അപ്പോഴാണ് I think you told me a lot about gut health and how it should be improved and things like that. So can you elaborate a bit more on the gut health side so that our viewers can get a clear picture as of to how to go about it?
So basically, we are comprised of trillions of bacteria. So this is basically the main brain. More than this, it's in here that most of the activities happen. When the good bacteria in here is compromised, and that will start to affect your mood, your actions, your direction towards food, your focus, and that's when you start to know that things are getting off. So ideally, we should be working on maintaining a good, diverse microbiota. Microbiota is basically these trillions of gut bacteria, which is in your gut. It comes from different sources. It can be from the food you eat, it can be from the things you drink. And to maintain and repair the activity in there, we need to have good sunlight exposure, we need to have good activity levels, we need to have good sleep. So all these factor into how these things work. So the gut bacteria can be kept diverse by the food we eat. So you have to have lots of probiotic foods, prebiotic foods. Prebiotic foods are basically all your vegetables, fibers basically. Those try and maintain good bacteria. Okay. That's the food of the gut bacteria basically. Following which you use probiotics, which is essentially stuff that will help engage the gut bacteria to flourish. So curd, pickled vegetables, bone broth, kombucha, fast, kefir. There are many options you have today. So these will all help create a nice diverse microbiota.
So what does sleep got to do with gut health? Sleep has everything to do with your health.
Because what you eat today or what you feel like eating today is kind of directed by the quality of the sleep you've had the previous night. So normally if you're somebody who's very focused and trying to eat right and keep that on track, if you've had a night of disrupted sleep or a less duration of sleep or low quality sleep, the next day your body started to compensate. You'll be trying to load up on sugar, you'll be completely dysregulated. So if you have a good night's sleep, you can have an upper hand in ensuring that you stick to your routines, you don't burst in basically. So that's something I noticed with my food styles. So earlier I was more focused on like bidding on eating basically. So when you eat a lot and that cycles through the day. But if you are well rested and you have good movement, all that kind of is how.
And that's where Bucha comes in, right?
Yeah. So basically I've been making kombucha for a few years now and I've been getting it to friends and family who need it. It's ideally a primer just to get your day started. The base of this is black tea and green tea, and then acetic acid is what plays into that primer. So once you get a little dose of this, which is about 50 ml, that kind of sets you off for the day and helps with glucose absorption and a lot of other things. It kind of adds a good bunch of gut bacteria, which will help you with digestion. It can help up a lot of things.
So how does it basically differ from kombucha, meaning kombucha that's available in the market?
The format here is like a tonic. It's shots. So the body we don't need more than 30 to 50 ml as a dosage. Versus the other formats, which is a 300 ml beverage, which I find excessive, and the intake of sugar is a lot higher. This gets you the dose of the good bacteria, and the rest is gone.
And one question, how does your glucose level or person with diabetes, how does it work on a person with diabetes, the kombucha? Meaning, not the regular kombucha, bucha.
So this one is low sugar, there's no added sugar, there's no added carbonation. And because it's only 50 ml, your dosage of sugar should be about 2 to 4 grams per serving. And once the probiotics are activated in this, you don't have as much sucrose in this. It's more glucose, fructose and acetic acid. So it's easier for the body to absorb.
So bottom line, there is no insulin spike happening.
No, if you're doing a 30 to 50 ml shot, you won't have a spike as such.
Thank you, Ashar.